You're listening to episode 2 of the Ninja Warrior podcast. Hello again, I'm Darren Payne, your host of the only podcast dedicated to helping you, the aspiring American Ninja Warrior competitor, fan, and obstacle course junkie. On today's show, I'll be speaking with Desmond Odom. He was a featured competitor last year and has a truly inspiring story, having lost over 130 pounds and then doing pretty well for a first-time American Ninja Warrior competitor. We'll also hear some of the horror stories from past competitors dealing with the walk online and simply dealing with the production of the show, all of which will give you a better idea of how to prepare for this year's competition. Before we begin, I wanted to mention this episode's sponsor, KiloSpire.com. Now, KiloSpire is a company started by fellow Ninja Warrior Trevor Parks and focuses on helping people find the best way to live the healthiest, high-performance lifestyle possible. So check them out at KiloSpire.com. That's KiloSpire.com. For those of you that will be competing for the first time this year, I've put together some helpful tips on what to expect. And what you can mainly expect is to wait a really long time. They exclusively film at night now, so expect to be cold and likely wet, especially at locations near the coast. Even if you're scheduled to run the course at 9 p.m., plan on running the course around 4 or 5 a.m., and even having them delay your run till the next evening. The production of the show always seems to run into problems right before your run. Lighting issues, obstacle issues, the staff having to take breaks, whatever it is, something almost always seems to come up right before you're supposed to go. So expect to wait, expect delays, and plan accordingly. What you're going to need to bring plenty of food, water, snacks, pre-workout energy supplement, whether it's an actual supplement or maybe a Monster energy drink, Red Bull, coffee, whatever it is. You're going to need to get amped up again when you're actually going to run the course. Because like I said, you're probably going to get delayed for a number of hours, and you'll be trying to stay warmed up, ready to go for hours at a time, and that's going to be draining. So get something else to pep you back up. Bring a sleeping bag. At a number of the locations, you won't be able to sleep in line or camp out as a walk-on, but if you're already invited, you still want to bring a sleeping bag because, like I said, you're going to be waiting a lot. So get some rest. You want to be fresh when you do run the course. To help you illustrate what to expect at the course, here are a few stories past competitors wrote in to tell me about. Ryoga V writes in to tell us why American Ninja Warrior is now a closed set. Now, at American Ninja Warrior 2, it used to be open set, where just the public could walk by, come in, check it out, everyone could watch it, and it was pretty cool. Basically, kind of a carnival or fair atmosphere. There was food trucks, there were souvenirs you could buy, but not anymore. Reason being, some guy rides his bike onto the set and starts to get into a fight with the security guard there. He ends up throwing his bike into the crowd, and that's why, at least partly, why it's now a closed set. Jason Huey tells me he had a homeless ninja sandwich. It turns out he was sleeping in the walk-on line, only to wake up to 2 homeless guys cuddled up next to him. So if you are able to sleep in line, be ready to make friends. Beth Higginbottom last year in Baltimore tells us about how it was freezing cold, wind, lightning, tornado warnings. The competitors waited there from 4 p.m. till 2 in the morning before they were finally just told, come back the next day. Gabriel Arnold had a tough time as well in Baltimore. He was in the walk-on line. He showed up 3 days ahead of time, ready to camp out. However, he couldn't. The cops and security there told him, you can't stay in line. So him and a few other ninjas got a hotel room. And then finally when the actual day comes around for the course, that's when the windstorm apocalypse that Beth was talking about happened. So similar situation, they're waiting around all day. Finally they're told to go home at 2 in the morning. When they do come back the next day, there's rain delays all day and they have to wait again till 2 a.m. before all the reserved spots are actually done. So finally, the walk-ons start running, and only 7 of them, 7 out of 30, actually get to run the course. And then they tell him, sorry, we're out of time. Better luck next year. He says, never have I seen more heartbroken men and women, myself included. So it's important to remember, for those of you that will be trying to get a walk-on spot for the first time, remember that the show generally only runs a handful of walk-ons, 20 to 30 people at best. So if you really want a chance of being in that top 20 or 30, you need to be in line long before the competition starts. I know there's people that are going to be there at least 3 days ahead of time at the Venice Beach competition. Rico Rivera tells us he was trying to find a place to camp on the Florida International University campus, but he couldn't because the school doesn't allow it, and security wouldn't make any exceptions. So he waited in front of the school's Starbucks library till about 5:30 in the morning, and then slept at the Starbucks table for another 3 hours before the hundreds of students woke him up. His experience illustrates the need for rest while you're on the set, assuming you could get on the set. Lastly, Joseph Range's group of walk-ons were told they were up next, so we started warming up, but then of course the log grip falls into the water, and it's broken. It leads to a 4-hour delay, no walk-ons, no one gets to run before they're all set home. He's told to come back tomorrow, and they'll try to squeeze them in after all the invited competitors finish up. So he shows up sore the next day because he was trying to stay warmed up for 4 hours, only they put him on the course immediately. And he's not ready, he's sore, he's mentally and physically drained, and he ends up falling on the quintuple steps. About the worst thing that could happen. So all these stories illustrate you need to expect to wait a long time and plan accordingly. Bring sleeping bag, bring food, bring snacks, bring water, bring stuff to get you pepped back up when you actually do get to run the course.
Well, let's welcome to the show Desmond Odom. Des, you're 27 years old, originally from New Jersey, but now you're out in Canoga Park, California. And you have a really inspiring story related to Ninja Warrior and just your background in general. Can you tell us about where you were in life before you started to train for the show?
Well, before I started to train for the show, as you know, I was at 304 pounds. Like the show said, I was actually living in my car for a matter of time, and I was unemployed. As time passed, I actually decided to get a job, and I ended up getting 3 jobs and getting my own place. And at that point, I decided to join the gym and get my life together and lose the weight.
Now, over what amount of time did it take from when you made that decision to when you were on the show? Was it over a year or 2, or what kind of a time frame?
I actually lost the first 100 pounds in 1 year.
Wow. That's pretty laser-like determination. That's pretty impressive. So you were 304 when you started this journey, and you're down to what weight now?
As of this week, I am down to 170 pounds.
Jeez. And I've seen your picture, some of your pictures on Facebook. You're a really fit guy now. You're looking pretty cut. And I'll put that picture. I'll put that picture up on the NinjaWarriorPodcast.com webpage. But how has your training evolved since you began?
In the beginning, I just did, the basic stuff, a little bit of cardio, jumping jacks, sit-ups, push-ups, and some machines at the gym. Now in my training, I do a lot more weightlifting. I run a lot further. I actually now incorporate parkour and free running in my training to help me lose weight and stay fit.
And for other people that might have been in a similar situation, they decided to make a change in their life and lose the weight, get in shape. What kind of advice do you have for them?
My first advice would be to definitely, once you decide to lose the weight and set the goal and set your goals, make plans to obtain that goal, and don't let anybody deter you. But you have to know to do it for yourself and do it for the right reasons. Because if you do it for the wrong reasons, you're going to end up getting deterred and giving up on yourself.
And it's really a lifestyle change. It's just not just something you can do on a whim. It's something you have to change everything for, right?
Yeah, definitely. You can't just think that it's going to be something, you can't just have it in yourself to want to look good or be healthy for the summer. It has to be something you have to commit your whole life to, the way you eat, the way you walk, the way you think.
And your experience last year on the show, that was your first time on Ninja Warrior, right?
Yes, it was. That experience was the most mind-blowing experience ever. Not only did I get to meet some of the competitors that I've looked up to for years since the show started, I got to sit and banter with them and get to know them on a personal level. And they're such amazing people to be around. They're so supportive, and they were so open to coaching me and giving me advice for the course. And being on the course itself was just breathtaking. It was something I dreamed about for so long, and to actually have obtained it was just nostalgic.
Yeah, I think it's something that most just viewers of the show might not know. As a competitor, everyone's trying to help each other. There's really no animosity or no negativity that you feel on the course. Everyone's trying to help each other. Right. Yeah, it's really just the competitor versus the course, not competitor versus competitor. Just a positive experience. Now, how can other people that might be just training now for the first time, how can they better be prepared for Ninja Warrior?
Definitely, you got to have the upper body strength, so work on your upper body strength. But number one thing, build your mental toughness. A lot of people fail once they get to the course because they beat themselves mentally. So definitely build your mental toughness, focus on your upper body strength, and just believe that you can do it. Go for it.
I think that's a great point to make, the mental toughness. It's so easy to get psyched out by the course, especially when they tell you you're up next, and you're there waiting on the course to run. Sometimes you're waiting there for 5 minutes while they get the cameras ready, the lighting just right, and the whole time you're getting psyched out in your mind. It's important to remember just to take one obstacle at a time, and instead of trying to do the whole course at one time, just break it into little pieces. It makes it much more manageable. Was there a specific competitor that motivated you to change your life, or just motivate you in general regarding the show?
There was two. There was Calvin Antoine, also known as Grandpa Ninja. He inspired me to, the way he inspired me was once I seen him climb the wall. The first time he ran up, he fell down, and it looked like he would give up, but he didn't. And he took a breath, and he just ran to the top. And the whole time I'm tearing up, and I'm cheering for him, and I'm, like, inspired. I'm fired up just watching him run. And then when he does his interview, he expresses his age, and he says that, no matter how old you are or where you're from, that you're capable of doing anything if you believe in yourself. And that kind of just inspired me. That made me believe that I was capable of getting on the show. And then there's also David Rodriguez, also known as Flip. He has a similar background. Watching him back when American Ninja Warrior first started during the boot camp days, I talked about his background and how he came from a rough neighborhood and stuff. I can relate to that because coming from North, everybody has heard the negative things, and it's hard coming from a negative environment where it seems like everything's pulling you down to rising above it all and to being something positive. And doing what he does for the kids and all the positive things that he does in the community is just all inspiring story to me.
Yeah, both really inspiring competitors. And for those that haven't seen the show or aren't familiar with Kelvin Antoine, he's 55 years old.
Yeah.
In amazing shape. So, yeah, his story is certainly an inspiring one. Now, your wife, Jeanette, I'm sure she appreciates the new ninja version of Desmond. What's her impression of your transformed self?
She loves it. She definitely loves the physical aspect, holding on to my arm in public and feeling on my muscles and laying on my chest and stuff. But even more than that, she loves my new level of determination and my passion for fitness and health and bettering myself. She says every day that she loves me more and more because my passion and determination grows, and that is such an attractive feature.
Oh, I like that. Have new habits developed since you started your transformation?
Yes, definitely. My biggest habit that's changed was I no longer eat any kind of fast food. I only eat all home-cooked meals. I also changed, even little small things, like when I go out, instead of taking the elevator, I would take the stairs, or instead of driving my car to the store, I'll take the walk or the jog or whatnot. And I also learned to cook more healthier meals for myself at home, and to learn to eat smaller portions, and also to make it a habit to work out multiple times throughout the day, work out in the day, work out at night, even if I'm tired from work. I try not to make excuses, but my biggest change is I dedicate my mind to every day becoming a better person than I was the day before. To try to learn something new and try something new. Those are my two rules.
Yeah. And when you are training, are you going out to the gym, at home? Where do you train?
For the most part, 80% of my training I really do within my own home. I have a lot of my own equipment, and but outside of my house, I go to Tempest Free Running Academy where I practice all of my parkour and free running endeavors. And going there is a pleasant experience because the guys there are very open and willing to showing you how to do different moves and teach you different things. So for me, being a beginner at this and going there, I think was like the best experience for me.
And going to a place like the Tempest Academy where they have a lot of the Ninja Warrior obstacles, it's a good way to kind of highlight, what your strengths and weaknesses are. What are you working to develop right now? Where do you need to focus your training?
Well, as you've seen last year, I fell on a balance obstacle, so I worked tirelessly to work on my balance, doing things like precisions and other kind of footwork. I did a lot of squats, one-legged squats to increase my leg strength, my leg explosiveness. But what I'm working on currently is my finger strength. I have never been into rock climbing or anything like that, so I tried the cliffhanger at Tempest, and it quickly seemed that I didn't have the finger strength to do it. So now I'm trying to, I do things like do pull-ups on my towel to increase my finger strength, and I have the finger clamps that I use every day to try to increase my finger strength as well. Because my tendons are pretty weak.
The last year, as you mentioned, you went down on a balance obstacle, the Domino Hill, as they call it. Do you have any pointers for people that are going to be facing that for the first time this year?
Yes, definitely. One, me coming from being 300 pounds to where I was at, I didn't really have a feel of balance. So know your center of gravity within yourself, and make sure you keep your shoulders over your feet and use your momentum to just go forward. Because once your weight drops back or your momentum stops and the domino topples, there's no coming back from it.
Right. And from watching the obstacle, I get the impression that since they're dominoes, you need all your momentum going forward before you get to the obstacle. Once you're on there, you can't move forward with your legs. You can only move up. You can only press
Right.
down on the domino with your legs. So if you don't have that speed going into it, you're screwed.
Yeah,
and
100%.
One of the obstacles that I think is probably overlooked, because it looks so simple, is the quintuple steps. And you got through that one pretty easily. What tips do you have for people to conquer that one?
My biggest tip is to go with what feels comfortable for you. Don't worry too much about rushing through it, and don't worry too much about what the guys on the sideline saying are best for them. If you're used to doing one leg and you feel comfortable doing that, then go ahead and do that. If you're used to doing the 3 steps, then go ahead and take the 3-step approach. Both are very good approaches, but it's all about your level of comfortability and not second-guessing yourself.
Yeah, that seems accurate. Yeah, I do the 3-step. The 1-step, I know I'm capable of it. I've done that before practicing, but I'm just not willing to take a chance, especially since so many people go down on the quintuple steps and they start to get wet. I see some people that are very capable, but they just slip. And, some of the veterans, like we've seen, I forget if it was Levi or Brian Orozco, we've seen them go down on the steps. Certainly they can get through it.
Both, actually.
Yeah. Really upsetting, especially when you're to that level, to go out on that first obstacle. So just do what works best for you, and if need be cautious.
Definitely.
Do the 3 steps if you need to. Your story is certainly an inspiration for a lot of people. Who, outside of Ninja Warrior, inspires you?
Well, I would have to say that there's a few people. One of them being my nephew, who inspired me to actually start the weight loss journey. With Ninja Warrior also in mind, he came to me with the challenge of who can lose the most weight in a year. And that competition, him being my support as well as my challenger and always raising the bar and what we did during workout, helped me to push myself to lose the first 100 pounds. And then there's my mother and father who are so supportive and so strong, and growing up and watching them overcome all the obstacles and everything that life threw at them, and not getting depressed and not letting life beat them down, but always getting back up and rising to the challenge inspires me, and that's where I get all of my strength from.
Yeah, certainly having the support group of your friends and family, that sure helps. Anything else you want to say to the listeners?
Yes, definitely. I just want to say to you guys that anything is possible if you believe in yourself. Just set goals and make plans for those goals, and don't let any naysayers deter you. If you want to believe in something, you have the passion for it. It is obtainable. There is no dream too big.
Well, we certainly appreciate you coming on the show and sharing with us your story and advice. We look forward to seeing you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you on the course this year and hope to see you go on to the finals in Vegas.
Yes, me too. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right. Thank you, Desmond. We'll see you later.
All right. Have a good one.
If you'd like to watch the Southwest Regionals run the course in Venice Beach, California this coming weekend, March 14th and 15th, or in Dallas, Texas shortly thereafter, you'll need to get your tickets online right now. They're free, but they're selling out quickly. Actually, there's, I think the Venice Beach course may be sold out, but they may open up more tickets, so check back often. So visit my website, ninjawarriorpodcast.com/2014 tickets. From there you can download or simply print the tickets, and that's what you need to get in. But you need to do that as soon as possible. That's going to do it for this episode. Next weekend, March 14th and 15th, as I mentioned, are the Southwest Regionals. I wish all the competitors the best of luck. Hope all the walk-ons actually get to run the course. I'm going to be there Friday night in the stands. Unfortunately, I didn't get a call back this year and won't be able to brave the walk-on line. So if you see me, be sure to say hi. Till next time, I'm Darren Payne, and I hope to see you on the course.